Hello guys, so we are back, and in this video we'll talk about for loops. Right here on the screen I have the program from the last video, and actually we've used here a while loop. So right now I'll try to transform this while loop to a for loop. This while loop has some parts, and the first part is here above the actual while loop, and it's called initialization. Then here we have the second part, which is our condition, which is inside of these parentheses. And here is our third part, which is update statement. So the basic formula for one for loop is this. At the first place we have initialization. It's inside of these parentheses. Then we have a semicolon, and on the second place we have our condition, and on the third place we have our update statement. And here inside of these curly brackets we have our statements. So statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. And the basic logic behind this is the same, just like in while loop. The first thing that happens is this initialization, and it happens only once. Only at the start of the execution of this for loop. Just like here. It happens here in this line and it doesn't happen anymore. So only at the start of this for loop. Then program checks for this condition, and if it's true it will do these statements and then come back here and do the update statement. And then get back here and check the condition. If the condition is true, it will go down here, do these statements, then go back, it will do the update statement, and then again checks the condition. So you see the logic behind it. It's just like this. So this update statement is always done at the end of each iteration. So right now I will comment this out, and I will use a shortcut for it. You just hold Ctrl, Shift, and press C on your keyboard. If you want to decomment that, you just hold Ctrl, Shift, and press X. So I'll comment this out so program ignores this part of the code, and I will just make this while loop in a for loop, and then I'll run this program to see if the results are the same. So for, and at the first place we have to have our initialization, so that is I is set to 1. Then semicolon, then our condition, so I smaller or equal to num, and then our update statement, which is I++. And I don't need to open curly brackets now because here I've used only one statement, so I can do it like this. And if I run this program now and type in, for example, 5, I will get 120, which is actually a factorial of number 5. So it works the same way. Actually, when we were using, just a second, when we were using this while loop in the last video, we could actually make all of this inside of one line by typing here ++ and deleting this line. And because of this is a postfix operator, the program would first calculate the results of this expression, and it would place the result inside of f variable, and then it would increment the I variable. Okay, so we could have used it inside of one line, and then we don't need these curly brackets, and we would use it as this. With that, I want to show you that this program can actually work like that too, but then we need to delete this update statement right here. If we don't delete that update statement, then we would have two increment operators, and the I would be always changed by 2 and not by 1. With this, I want to show you that you can actually always leave these places blank. So it's allowed, but almost always you will have this condition right here, because if you don't have it, then it would be an infinite loop, and that would just crash the program after some time. If I run this now and type in 5, I'll get 120 again. So this program works well. I can delete this too and just leave this condition here. And for example, this doesn't make sense, but I just want to show you. I can do the initialization right here or even here, and it will still work good. If I type in, I don't know, 4, I get 24, so the program works well. Okay, so I will delete this now, and right now I'll show you in a couple of small programs. I will kind of play around with this sign. It's called asterisk, and I will call it star usually because it's easier for me that way. So right now in this program, I will ask the user to type in some number, and then inside of one row I will type that amount of stars. I'll call a variable and, for example, and then I'll printf type in some number, then scanf %d, and I will place it to n, and then I will use for loop. I want to show you here that you can actually use this in this way. You can make the whole definition and initialization of a variable here. So you can type in the type of the variable and make actually a new variable. You don't need to do it somewhere above. And here the condition will be, because I want to type in n number of stars, I'll use I is smaller or equal to n. And then here I will always have I++. And here I will have printf a star, return 0. Okay, so when I run this program right now and I type in, for example, 5, I'll get here 5 stars. So it's pretty simple. You can always use 0 here, but then you need to delete this, and it only needs to be I is less than n, because if you don't delete it, as you can see here, I get 5 stars. And if you don't delete this, you will actually always get 1 star more than you've typed in. As you can see, I've got here 6 stars, which is a mistake. So I need to delete this. Okay, so in the next program, I'll just delete this part. I will try to do n rows so that each row has 1 star. I'll use a for loop again, and again I will use a variable which I will call row now, because I will make n rows. I'll set it to 1, then row is smaller or equal than n, and row plus plus. And here I'll just printf star and then \n to get me to the next line. So if I run this program now and type in 5, as you can see, I will get 5 stars, and every star will be in a new line. So right now I'll talk about nested for loops. So always when you use a term nested in programming, for example, if it's a nested for loop, that's a for loop which is inside of another for loop. So I've talked about it in the last video. Let's do one program. Actually, I will get this back right here. Let's do a program where we'll do n rows, and in each row the number of stars should be the same as the number of that row. So it should look like this: a star, then in the second row we need to have 2 stars, then in the third row we need to have 3 stars, and you get the logic behind it. Okay, first for loop, I'll actually make a help variable which will be row, int row, and set it to 1. Row is smaller or equal to n, row plus plus. And actually I will use this for loop to get me always inside of new line. And then I'll open these curly brackets right here, and here I will have another loop, and I will use this for loop to type in exact amount of stars in each row. If it's first row, then I need to have 1 star. If it's second row, I need to have 2 stars. So I'll make another help variable which I will call, for example, I, and set it to 1. And I will go all until it's smaller or equal than row, and then I'll have I++ right here. And every time this happens, I'll type star. And right here I'll have 1\n, and this \n is actually a part of this for loop and not this for loop. So only this printf a star is part of this nested for loop. So I'll show you how this works. So first time the row is 1, and that happens only at the start of this for loop. And then we check the condition. If the condition is good, we come in here. And then we will do this for loop. We will initialize this I and set it to 1. Check the condition, print this out, then do the update statement, then again check this condition. So this for loop goes on and on all the way until this condition is finished. Once it's finished, then the program continues. So it's pretty simple. So first we have this initialization, we check the condition, and we go inside of this. And then we execute and iterate this for loop all the way until this condition is finished. So if we run the program right now and type in 5, for example, as you can see, the program works correctly. And I will just explain you how it works. So at start, we initialize this row to 1, and it's finished with that. We don't use this anymore. We typed in 5, so n is 5. Is 1 smaller or equal than 5? It is. Then we go inside of here. We go in here, and then we do this for loop. I is set to 1. Is 1 smaller or equal than 1? It is. Then we print this out. So here it is. Then this update statement happens, and that makes I have value 2. And now 2, is it smaller or equal than 1? No. And then the program exits this for loop and printf \n. Then this \n happens, which gets us here in the new line. And then update statement happens. Don't forget that. So row is now 2. Then we check this condition. 2 is smaller or equal than 5. That's true. And we get here again. Now this initialization happens again because this is a new execution of this for loop. So I is 1. I is smaller or equal than 2. That's true. Then we print this out. So this is the first star inside of the second row. And then this update statement happens. So I++. I is now 2. We check the condition. 2 is smaller or equal than 2. It's true. Then we print the second star here. And then we have this update statement. And I is now 3. 3, is it smaller or equal than 2? No, it's false. Then the program exits this for loop and prints \n, and that gets us to the next line. And the program works like that all the way until the 5th row. So it's pretty simple. This for loop will always have more executions than this one, because for every execution, for every iteration of this for loop, we will have this for loop inside of it, and all of the iteration will happen, and then it will go back and make a new iteration of this for loop. So it's a little complicated, but once you get it, it's really easy. So maybe you should just watch this video one more time so you get that really good, because nested loops are extremely important. I will do in the next video some more examples about these nested loops so you can get it better. I will do some more of these shapes that we type out, that we print out, so that you can understand it better. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel too, and put the notification bell on as well to be in touch with our latest videos, because we upload daily. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.